How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Mellock's Den. Sorry we haven't been posting in the past couple of weeks. We actually decided to take a bit of a fortnight off for the Easter break and for us to hang out with our family and do our things. Today, this episode is all about what is LARP and some of our own personal experiences. For the people out there that saw the last video and absolutely loved it, thank you so much. That actually got more views than we've had so far. So pretty much this video is going to cover what is LARP and some of our own personal experiences from different events that we've been to. So, what is LARP? I'll let Isaac handle this one. Well, some of this one. From his opinion.
Well, LARP stands for live action role playing, but that I don't feel encompasses sometimes exactly what it is and what it means to other people. It can be a competitive sport-like battle game. It can be what they call a parlor LARP, which is similar to something like Dungeons and Dragons, but done in person. Yeah, and for myself, I view LARP as a type of collaborative storytelling. So you get a bunch of people together, you put them in a fantasy setting, a post-apocalyptic setting, whatever really setting you would like, and then they play off of each other to create a cohesive story and a bit of escape from reality for a little while.
Which is always fun because while you're in character you don't have to, you can, if you've done it enough, you can kind of like train yourself to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about Trent's bills, Trent's work, Trent's this, Trent's that. Any outside distractions you don't have to worry about. You just worry about, for example, my character's name is Corum. While I'm in character, I just wonder about, okay, what's Corum going to do today? Who's he going to shoot? Is there anyone that's after him? Who's he going to ally with? And stuff like that.
Yeah. And you also, it's a social thing. So you get to hang out with sometimes what could be 200-300 people, depending on the events, that kind of thing. And you make new friends, you meet really talented people who craft all their own gears and have lots of skills and different things. Like Trent's quite the archer. I'm not too bad with the sword. And we've met a lot of people that amazing crafters, singers, songwriters that all contribute to make these LARP events for a brief amount of time feel real, which I really like. I think escapism sometimes is it's a good distraction, as Trent was saying.
Oh yeah. And the good thing is you don't have to be like the popular person. Most of the people that comes to these events are the jaded crowd. We are the people that, back at school, we got picked on, but also at the same time we also run around and fight with the popular crowd that were at school. So if you have social anxiety, if you're worried about your weight, or if you're worried about, oh, I can't swing a sword, there is no worries. There are people there to help out. I actually help out more archers than I like to admit.
Yeah, LARP is it's a very social thing. You get people from all different walks of life get to bond over, in our case, with the LARPs we attend, a love of fantasy. You get people who love Lord of the Rings, people who love Game of Thrones. Like, it's one of those places where you can pretend to be as wise as Gandalf or you can know nothing like Jon Snow. And anywhere in between. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, LARP is really one of those places where, regardless of your walk of life, everyone is welcome, which is cool because there's a lot of division in society, as everybody knows. So a place, where you can get together and forget about that and, kill an orc or something it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so LARP has even spawned movies about it. So yeah,
you got the common ones with famous people in it, like Knights of Badass, that have, for people that watch True Blood, it's got I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays Jason Stackhouse in it. Peter Dinklage, Summer Glau, those actors are in that movie. And then you've got ones with as people know him now, Ant-Man. Paul Rudd is in one called Role Models.
Another thing I do like about LARP is that it crosses the age gap. So you have people just starting out at LARP who are, 15, 16, just getting into it, and then you've got other people who are, really invested in it who are much older than that.
I think the oldest one we've met was Ragnar, who's about mid-50s.
Quest, there's older people again that we've seen down here.
Down in Melbourne, the 1 week Melbourne event, there's people that are much older.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. It's a cross-generational love of fantasy and storytelling, which drives these things to be the great social events that they are.
Well, first off, the way I'd explain to someone who hadn't done it before is pretty much it's like a real life video game. You got your character races that you make. You go and create your character. You go out there, do some quests, shoot some people with arrows, whop them with swords if you want, or whatever your weapon you want. Pretty much just have fun. You just pretty much it's like instead of sitting down and playing a video game. Instead of sitting down playing a video game at a TV, at a computer, whatever, you're actually dressing up as your character. You have to put in the effort of getting your gear together and actually running around and talking like your character would. If you're playing a dwarf, you're not going to go, "G'day mate, how's it going today?" But yeah, with some LARPs they will have to do the whole training session beforehand to make sure that you know how to properly hit someone, how to properly pull your hits, how to properly shoot an arrow without injuring people. We've seen some almost pretty drastic injuries when it comes to especially arrows getting shot at people.
So I think, Jeff, that sums up what LARP is to me and to Trent. Anyway, other people have different ideas, and I'm sure you'll come across people who are happy to share those. But yeah.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Alright, so we're now going to share with you some of our personal experiences from our times LARPing.
Alright, I think one of my favourite memories from Heroes Odyssey was way back in the day, I think about 4 years ago.
Yeah, to be something close to 4 years.
Yeah, around about 4 years ago. There was an epic battle between the Mercenary King and his allies and another group called Legion and their allies. What can I say about that besides it still to this day is embedded into my head. Whenever I think of a good memory, it just reminds me of that, from all the different aspects of the battle, the new technology and new stuff that Legion brought onto the field to change the entire game, bring in new rules and all that stuff, all the way to how much the mercenaries and all that fought. In the end, Legion ended up winning, but as I said, the mercenaries did their best. They held their ground, and yeah, I think it came down to, I think we had more people on our side at Legion. And that's the thing, Isaac and I are actually on opposite sides. He was on the mercenary side and I was on Legion's side.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like like a set piece style battle in a movie. You had, the forces of the Mercenary King hold up in their fort. Legions rolled up with these really cool, like, movable barricades which hadn't been used prior to that, so it kind of changed the siege dynamic of Heroes Odyssey at the time. Yeah, it was a hard fought battle on both sides, but eventually Legion and their allies did pull through and slaughtered us all.
To put it lightly.
It was a really good fight. It's a fond memory for me too.
What are one of your fondest moments of Heroes Odyssey?
Mine is a bit of a smaller thing that happened, and this is very early on. is both of us were in a group called the Darkened Horde.
Back in what we called the darkened days.
Yes, back in the darkened days. And we had set up, we had a little base, and we had set up what was effectively like a fighting pit, but in like an iron cage, so a cage match.
And this wasn't any bits of wood with rope around it. This was actually, it was pretty much a shark cage.
Yeah.
It was like a shark cage.
Yeah, and we were pretty much taking people as slaves, because we were the bad guys, and making them fight each other to the death. That's one of my fun memories, because it's just, you had people who didn't often interact with each other, then in these really close up, well role-played fights. So it was very cool. Very cool.
After this, I think our biggest event that we went to was Swordcraft Quest, which is a big event down in Melbourne.
Yeah, it happens twice a year.
Happens, I think, around about April-ish, and then in around about September.
Yeah, well, one just went actually. Yeah.
The one we went to was in 2016, and it was at a four-wheel drive park called Mafe King Park, which it was a brilliant place that they did it at, because it had an even amount of open rolling plains with big hills and forest. And yeah, pretty much we went down with a group called the Wooden Yak, known as pretty much the Queensland party animals. And we even went by a little motto that we said called "Bring the Ruckus."
Yeah, bring the ruckus.
And yeah, pretty much we all went down in a convoy. I went down with a couple guys, and Isaac went down in another car with a few others. They stopped for the night and all that. And my car pretty much just went 22 hours driving south with a 2-hour power nap, and I think we left at like 9 in the morning.
Yeah, something.
And
like
didn't
that.
get there until like 9 the next morning, or 8 the next morning. And yeah, no, just even when you were driving, because this place was in the middle of nowhere. It was an hour away from the nearest town. There was no phone reception, and you're just driving up this mountain, and as you're getting higher up, you're going through clouds, and even the trees were overgrown to look like an archway, and it just looked like you're driving through a portal to another land. And no, when we got there, it was something I've never seen before. Isaac's been there a few times, I've only been there once, and no, there was roughly 600 people setting up camps, and yeah, no, this place was absolutely amazing. I do have some footage that I'll be rolling in a sec from that event. Not the best footage, because that was before I upgraded to all this gear, but it still gives you a look of how many people were actually there. So yeah, but no, this was great. It was 7 days of pretty much waking up at 7 in the morning, getting geared up, stopping a camp from getting siege other people's camps.
Yeah, I slept through a siege because I got heinously drunk the night before.
Yeah, you can.
So if you haven't already gathered, this was an adult LARP, of which not all LARPs you go to will be.
Not all LARPs allow drinking. Some, and even this one, they don't allow glass bottles on the premises. You have to bring either alcohol in plastic Coke bottles or something like that.
Yeah, and the tavern on site was actually licensed, which was pretty cool. You go to a LARP in the middle of nowhere and there's a functioning tavern.
The nearest town was an hour away, and I do remember one night someone actually ordered pizza to the event. They better have paid that guy some good tips afterwards.
Yeah, that would have been a long trip up the mountain
Yeah.
to deliver a pizza.
There wasn't even any phone reception. But yeah, pretty much after making a ruckus in town, you go do a few quests, you wander around, you do whatever you wanted to. And then at night, you either had guard duty at your camp, which one night we were on guard duty on top of 5-meter tall scaffolding. Well, it was raining and windy and about 3 degrees. Luckily, we had thermal fleece cloaks on. But yeah, after that, we ended up going, as we did every night, we ended up going up to the tavern and having drinks until about 2 in the morning and letting our wet clothes dry near the fire.
Now, you've got a good siege story, don't you?
Yep. Which one? The Quorum long shot or?
They lead into each other, really.
Oh, they do. One of which I was in the shower block because I actually had, for the camps that were far away from the main area, they had porta potties and stuff. But in the main area, they had a full concrete shower block. So in the middle of the day, I ended up going for a shower, and all I hear outside is just all this noise, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Get my pants on, I look outside, and there's a lot of people, like hundreds of people outside one of the base's camps. And pretty much I was excited because that was the first siege that happened that week. So I chucked whatever I could in the bathroom and left it there, like my towel and some of that stuff was still on the hooks. And chucked on my boots and my shirt, and as I'm there running towards the battle, I'm still chucking on my quiver and my arrows and all that. I get to the, I pretty much get to the fight, and then it pops in my head. Where am I, guys? Am I meant to be outside or inside? Am I in amongst all the enemies, or what the hell's going on? So I'm starting to make myself a little bit scarce, but Isaac comes around the corner with a bunch of our guys with a big battering ram and starts banging in their door. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I know where I'm at, and start shooting people. Later that day, someone tried to attempt to siege our camp. And as we've got our mate Kenyon behind me, here.
Shout out to Grungle and his cheesy bread.
Oh yeah, Papa Grungle.
Staple of Quest.
Yep, he ended up selling cheesy bread, which even some of our enemies
not quite
like.
selling cheesy bread, giving out cheesy bread because he's the most lovely charitable soul you'll ever meet.
And even some of our enemies loved it. But he was behind me, and we were about 20 meters behind these guys who are fighting on the front lines. And I'm shooting people in the chest, left, right, and center. And our leader, Mario, also known as High King Dunbar,
The People's King.
the People's Champion. Pretty much, he's taken some hits from this big two-handed sword guy. He jumps up and he's about to swing down on him, and Mario puts his shield up. And I shot an arrow that went right between his ear and his arm and caught this guy in the kneecap in midair. And that night at the tavern, they got me to regale the story of what happened that day and all that, and they dubbed me with the title of Longshot.
Title well deserved and still used to this day.
Yep. Still proudly used.
I'd have to say one of my favourite memories from that quest is of a night time. They had some rules set up so you could sneak into the other camps and steal their flags. So we'd set up like a night watch, and I got, through some sheer luck, got to be the leader of that. So it's probably weather-wise the worst night of the entire time we were there. It's just bucketing down rain. I'm sitting on the top of this tower, shivering cold. Trent's opposite me in another tower. We've got a bunch of our guys down the bottom, and it sounds like a horrible thing, but it was probably my fondest memory because I felt the most in character then, barking orders down to everyone and, like questioning people coming up to our gates and stuff. Yeah, it was a fun experience, even though we were soaking wet and cold.
Being on top of a mountain, you'd go through 4 different weather systems a day. It'll be clear and sunny, then 5 minutes later cold and wet, and then another 5 minutes later just clear but really windy. And yeah, it was. Luckily, I ended up making for Isaac and I some thermal fleece cloaks that we had on for the night times, because it would get down to about 2-3 degrees at night on some nights.
Yeah, it could get real cold. Though for any people overseas in colder countries are probably just laughing at us. They're like,
Oh, that's just like how some of the Americans that would go, oh, it's hot. The first thing I say to them is, have you seen the road liquefy? I have, so stop your whinging.
I've got a good one.
Yep.
Got a good quest memory. They had set up a little gambling den.
Yeah.
And myself, Trent, and some of our other lads had all gone in there. We were drinking as well, gambling with some fake currency and stuff, mucking around, and I end up in the same table as Trent, and he robs me blind.
Pretty
I
much.
just lost all my money to him, and I was like, okay.
And everyone else.
Okay. And I've left with another friend of ours, and we've waited for Trent, and we've managed to acquire 2 band guns, which are a rubber band gun, effectively.
Which, when we do the video about weaponry, I will be showing you my one that I have.
Yeah, so we have these 2 pistols, and we've waited for Trent, and he's come out of it with all his winnings, and we robbed him of everything.
On the way to the toilet, nonetheless.
On the way to the toilet, because that's the kind of scum that we were, and are.
Prick.
Yeah, no, that's a fond memory. And then we went back into the gambling den and proceeded to lose it all. So
they robbed me blind and still lost it again.
And then we celebrated robbing you. We went to the tavern, had a great time.
Yep. Went and had fun afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if you guys ever have the chance, Heroes Odyssey in Brisbane, the link will be down in the description. The link for their Facebook page will be down in the description. And if you guys ever get the chance down in Melbourne, Swordcraft, they're a lovely bunch of people. They set up, even at these events, they set up stalls so that if you ever run out of clothing or you break a weapon or something happens, they do sell things there. So you'll be able to upgrade armor, upgrade weapons, all that stuff. Yeah. Their link will be down in the description as well.
Yeah, they also do a weekly battle game, from memory, Friday night? Something like that.
Which one is this?
For Swordcraft.
Swordcraft, yeah,
I think
Friday nights.
But yeah, we can link to their info as well.
Yeah.
For anyone that's living in Melbourne that wants to give LARP a go.
Heroes Odyssey, on the other hand, they are actually expanding. Currently, they do have 2 or 3 games running at different times of the week, which all that info is on their Facebook page. So yeah, pretty much they're starting to become a bit of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So, if you guys like this video, if there's nothing else left to cover, pretty sure we've covered everything.
Yeah, I think we have. If you have any questions, of course, throw them in the comments and we will answer every single one.
Yep. The next few videos will be LARP based. We do have scheduled for a couple videos are all about what weapons we use, armor, different types of LARP, like certain specific things in each LARP that separates them. And yeah, just pretty much the basic tutorial 101 of LARP. So I hope you guys like this video. We will be back in the next fortnight. As I said, we took a break because of Easter and everything's been hectic, so personal lives kind of came into it. But yeah, until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.